Hello and welcome to a review of a LEGO Animal Crossing set. Today we are going to be talking about Bunnies Outdoor Activities. It is the second small set of the original wave of LEGO Animal Crossing. And it's a set that I kind of had mixed feelings about, but now that I've built it, I actually kind of think it's pretty cool. Now, I guess to start, my expectations for this set. So, Animal Crossing is one of my favorite game franchises of all time. The original game is just such an interesting experimental title, and I think the games after that better balance the idea of it being a fun game that you actually want to play versus like just a weird esoteric experience. But I think all of them have their value, and I mean, aesthetically, I think the GameCube game is the best one by kind of a lot. It has this kind of like rougher, like more, I guess, atmospheric vibe to the whole thing. It really feels like you're living in a little forest, while the later ones kind of feel like, it's a lot more like player driven and, shiny and plasticky and all of that, which, it makes sense the Lego theme would be based almost entirely. Actually, I'm going to go on a limb. The Lego theme is based entirely on New Horizons, which it makes sense, but God, I would be so happy if they released at least one set, more so aesthetically like the GameCube game. Like make the post office look like the GameCube game, because there's no post office in the New Horizons, and like New Horizons just had kind of weak building design in general. It was very bland, and I don't know, whatever. I don't hate New Horizons. I just prefer the stylings of the older games. The set itself, to talk about the Lego, oh my God, there's a lot of preamble with this. This might be a rambly one. The set itself is, on the surface, completely unremarkable. So Lego Animal Crossing inherits a lot of traits from multiple different series of Lego sets. The first one, the most obvious that's been stated, is Fabuland, as the figures, the animal human hybrid figures, and the big funny heads and the cute dopey eyes, like these are a dead ringer for Fabuland. And I guess we can start with the figures in terms of talking about the set, but this figure is incredible. It's so simple and colorful. The colors all work together so well. They're blocked so cleanly and nicely. This head is just, the shape of it is perfect. I love the ears. They look amazing from every angle, the whole thing. I love the pattern on the front and back printing. This is the kind of design that doesn't feel like it can only be used for Animal Crossing. It's so universal, not even just for like, other Animal Crossing characters, but for other characters in general, and even, classic yellow minifigures and everything. And yeah, the printing is great. There's not really any opacity problems. I love the line weight on there. Bunny is a character that I think is, they're not the most interesting aesthetically, but I think they work really well for this kind of, role. Just really good, like fantastic. Like the figures in these sets, of the ones I've had, they are great. Sometimes they're a little bit off, but this is a perfect figure, and we need more figures in this theme, because it's like I'm almost never like this. I'm not really a minifigure fiend by any sense of the word, at all. But this set, when it comes to details of prints and minifigures, it is off the charts. It's amazing. They did a fantastic job with those, and we're gonna look at those. But where this set struggles, where the Animal Crossing theme struggles, is in terms of the builds, like the actual thing you're building, the build experience. What's left when you're done with the whole thing? Like displayability, this has almost nothing. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's awkwardly shaped. Okay. Oh my God, there's so much to talk about with these sets, to be honest. I guess, okay, I'm going on so many tangents, but the other thing that this is a lot like is Lego Super Mario, and how it's like, this modular setup with these big plates, the exact plates that Mario used. They're supposed to be quote unquote customizable, but that basically just means you can put this here if you want, or here, or whatever. Like, it's customizable in like kind of the least interesting way possible, where this doesn't aesthetically feel that different. It's the same chunks. It's kind of a weird reference, but it's kind of like the Dungeon Maker from the Link's Awakening remake, where like, yeah, it's customizable, but you really are not going to make anything original, it's not like a series like Life on Mars where these elements are so desperate and they're so eclectic that they become something new, and there's like different avenues for stuff that like basically transform into a completely different creature or whatever. Like these are very much like it's like saying that like putting modular buildings together in like different like patterns where it's like, oh, we got the cafe corner and the Parisian restaurant, but they're swapped. It's like saying that's like an alternate build or like customizable. I mean, I guess it is, but it's just like it's just so weak. It's on the back of this box and the one for the other set I have, the Cap'n Boat Ride set. And it's just like, is that the play feature? Is that like why these builds are so simple? To accommodate this, lackluster gimmick that doesn't add anything? Anyways, that's very negative. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel about these sets where it's like, the builds are just so weak, and it's like even the ones that are more substantial, the houses, I think they're far better, but they still are like in the style of New Horizons, and they just are a little boring, and they're just extremely overpriced, man. Like $40 to $60, and it's just like, is that what it takes to get even the smallest structure that's actually something? Like this one, you get a tent, Bunny can sleep in it, it's cool. There's a radio, which is cute design, although I wish it was printed. It would be cool. They could sleep in there. They have a marshmallow. It's very cute, very kawaii. But like the thing is like that's basically all there is to have the set. Like that, Okay. And then we've got a tree. These tree design is actually pretty cool. It was fun to put together, and there's a secret where you can just hide stuff inside it, which I think is a really fun play feature. I think that's awesome. Really cool. Captures the design of the game pretty well. Good stuff, good stuff. Although it does lead to a problem with these sets that I kind of feel is exasperated by like these smaller ones, because they kind of have the same kind of style. I guess they focus on trees and like these hills, and these hills are all built in the exact same way, and it's just not that fun of a thing to put together. It's just this cylinder. But there is a cool feature where like it's implied that you dig up money, kind of an allusion to the original game, or even honestly it's an allusion to the money rock. Obviously, I don't know why it says the original game. This series doesn't care about Animal Crossing for the GameCube. Ooh. On this part of it, we also get this butterfly, and as I guess is a standard for the Animal Crossing theme, this print is just fantastic. Like, oh my god, look at that, it's beautiful. Also beautiful is this print for the dig spot. I like how it's not just the star, it's this stylized little piece of land that kind of represents the stylings of the actual Animal Crossing series. Very cool. And even better is the fossil, which I think is basically perfect. Like, it's interesting that they went for purple instead of dark blue, but it just makes it so much more vibrant and interesting. I really like this design and what they went for with it. And the fact that you get two, because it's such a small piece, is a great addition to the set. A feature of the set that I think is also good is this waterfall. And, there is a little play function with a little bit of Technic where you're able to simulate jumping across from one side to the other with the pole vault, which I think is pretty novel and adorable. Like, I think that's cool. I don't think it makes this feel like that much of a complete thing in of itself, but it does make it feel more cohesive than it did when you just look at the box. Because when you just look at the box, it looks like there's nothing cohesive. Sorry. This spider is kind of supposed to represent the tarantulas that people hunt for. And there's even a bug net, which is a cute addition. I like how there's tools and then little parts of the builds that are supposed to be applicable for the tools. Like there's an axe for the tree over here. And there's a shovel for that dig spot. It's very considerate in how it kind of feels like this part is like, works together. It's very playset-esque, which makes sense. It is a playset. That's so stupid. I'm sorry I said that. But, like, it makes sense as a playset, and there are things you can do with it. There's that. But, like, as, like, an aesthetic object or even something that's supposed to be kept and not just thrown into a bin, I feel like it's just missing. It's just missing something, man. Like, it's like the Mario sets have, like, this, like, very thin gimmick that's, like, tying them all together, which is the course builder, which is kind of used to justify how simple everything is and how nothing really feels cohesive. But this just doesn't have something like that. You know, it just doesn't. And like, I don't know, man. Like, Animal Crossing would have been hard to adapt either way, because Animal Crossing is about the land, it's about the world, the island. You know, the characters are what populates it, and that's a great part of it. But you can't just have character packs, because, you know, Lego isn't going to make a customizable, isn't going to make a CMF series about Animal Crossing. It's like there's so many characters, you can't really do that. I mean, you could make one about Animal Crossing, but it would only be the special characters, and the special characters are cool, but like every Animal Crossing is about the personal connections you make. It's a communication game. That's how they described it when they were making the GameCube game. It's about the characters. But like, the thing about it, the game is that because there's so many villagers, everyone has their own personal character they love, and you can't really communicate something about like, communication through Lego. I mean, maybe you could find some way to do it, but this isn't really attempting to do that. It's attempting to be an aesthetic homage and like simulate the gameplay aspect of it, which is, you know, the in between section. The gameplay is kind of what makes these relationships feel real, but you don't have enough. I guess the thing about the gameplay is that it's like you have all of the bits in between, but none of the core elements of Animal Crossing itself. So it's almost like, why even bother? Like, that's why I wasn't interested in these sets until they were on hyper clearance. It's because it's just missing what makes Animal Crossing so alluring in the first place. The relationships you have with the characters and, you know, their personalities and everything. It has the aesthetics of the prints. That's why the prints are so great, because they capture the aesthetic so cutely. But in terms of just having the land, like, it's just such like a bland world, I guess. It's like the most bland, like a friend set, like, to be honest. And I mean, there's something to be said about how nice the plainness is. I actually like this set, even though I keep dogging on it. It was a fun build, and I was like, I was delighted and surprised on multiple points. For a $20 set, that's honestly all you can ask for. There are elements of that are great. And I was able to get this on clearance for $6 because they massively overproduced these things. There was just like 15 copies of the Captain set, which is just insane. That one I think is significantly worse because it has these same weak points, but it's also more expensive. So, you know, you're missing out on, it just feels more lacking, I guess. Well, this kind of slides by as like a $20 set. Like, what do you expect, you know, especially from Lego? I'm being so negative in this review. This is why I don't review modern sets, because it's like, even when there's something that I like, it's just, there's so many layers of complexity of why I'm just not as into it as I would be an older set that just has way less baggage, I guess. And especially considering it's a license. Like, you know, like, licensed sets have so much to live up to because they are trying to be Lego and they're trying to be another thing. And, you know, with the way things have, you know, with the desires of the license holders and the fans, there's just like a lot, I guess, it's left to be desired on both fronts usually. And if you're looking for one, I don't know. It's like, if you're looking for a great Lego set, I don't think this is a great Lego set. If you're looking for a great Animal Crossing product, I guess there isn't much Animal Crossing products or much Animal Crossing stuff out there. So this will do, you know, this is fine, but it just doesn't capture to me what Animal Crossing is. And I guess that's because maybe New Horizons just isn't what I think Animal Crossing is. It's this completely different thing. And, you know, maybe it does that. Maybe if I was more into New Horizons, I'd be like, okay, this makes sense. This works. You know, you got the pole vaulting. That's cool. It's from New Horizons.